I'm not going to bore you guys with a step-by-step engine assembly because at this stage in the game, the only thing anybody wants, you guys and myself included, is to see that motor and that truck going down the road. But with that being said, a quick overview of what I've gotten done so far. We got the heads on, studded, torqued, upper and lower valve covers, valves adjusted. I got my new high pressure injection lines. I still got to torque the injector hold down bolts, and I can tighten these up. Getting a new hard line from the CP3 to the rail, and then I'm going to replace this line as well, which is the one rail that feeds the other. That should just about wrap up the fuel system. I got the new return lines installed. We're doing pretty good. We got the intake manifolds are in, the Y bridge is in. I got to install the turbo. I got to reinstall the coolant block off piece there, and then get to work on the cooling system and belt drive. But it's looking pretty good. No regrets on the Detroit Alpine Green for the upper valve covers. It's coming along. So I don't know what the next clip is going to be, but you guys are going to find out right now. All right, it's the end of the weekend. Got a lot done. Got the accessory brackets painted and installed. Did a Craigslist rebuild on my starter. Got that done. Got my little PPE or my fleece plate block off coolant piece over there. I wound up deciding to order new fuel rails. Some of these are not the best, and at this stage in the game, really not looking to replace my brand new injectors because of fuel contamination from the rails. We got the injectors in, the hard lines are in. Also going to be replacing the rail-to-rail supply and the CP3 to the rail supply. Got the returns all done, put a couple P-clips in them just to kind of neaten it up a little bit. So all in all, a very, very, very productive weekend. Basically took this thing from, a long block to a almost fully assembled engine as far as the accessories go. Have some parts coming in this week, and then from there, still got to do the flywheel and the clutch. Got to put the dampener back on it. I ordered an AC delete pulley or a bypass pulley. Just not going to be using the AC compressor this time around, or at least not right out of the gate. So I figured let's just bypass it for the time being. Still got to put the power steering pump on, which I think I'm going to replace, and then also put the oil cooler back on. Got the motor mounts on. So theoretically, if we have another good week, if everything goes according to plan, which is a pretty big if that all happens, then could be getting ready to drop this thing back in the chassis next weekend. So we'll see what happens. All right, so the next clip here, it's Easter weekend, and I've been plugging away the last couple days. Had Friday off, today's Saturday, got a bunch of work done. So we got new fuel rails, new high pressure lines, new supply. I did reuse the old return manifold pipe, but I painted that and it matches close enough that you can't really tell. Obviously got the turbo on, got all the plumbing done for the fuel. I'm trying to think of what else. Exhaust back on, looks like a motor again. So the last two things that I got to do are the clutch and the flywheel, which I'm about to tackle here momentarily. And then also I need to bring the balancer to a machinist to have the hub bored out slightly. So the crank measures at this, the hub here measures at this, so it's about 15 thou out, and it's going to need to get bored, or at the very least honed, and then that can go back on. So the balancer can go back in chassis. That's really no big deal, but the clutch and the flywheel have to happen out here for sure. So got some of the equipment pulled out, cleaned up around the truck. Gonna grab the engine crane, get this thing off the stand, and get to work on installing the clutch and flywheel. And then from there, I can basically prep everything to go in. So pretty straightforward. I'm just going to take this whole mess of wires and just kind of dangle it off to the side. And then it's a pretty straight shot. Obviously, with the front of the truck being so far disassembled, the motor should be able to just pretty much right in. So that's that. Going to go ahead and get this clutch and flywheel on, and we'll take it from there. And just like that, the motor is back in. Not a total pain in the ass. Didn't have to pull the hood off, which is pretty cool. So, got a buddy coming over in a little bit with a trans jack. Gonna see if we can get that unit back installed and go from there. All right, lots of progress. So basically just went ahead and hooked the harness back up. It is completely a sea of wires under this thing. Obviously, I got to go through and zip tie and, whatever else. But we are ready for a test fire. This is my key. I bumped it over real quick and everything seems to be working. We got her on the old battery booster box, pre-emissions, and everything looks good. So gonna go ahead and give it a crank and see what we get.